Oh, what's up everybody? Today I thought I would show you how to ride a wrecked bike. This is my buddy Sonic's bike. It was unfortunately in an accident this past weekend. It's got some various, mostly cosmetic damages and stuff, the alignment's out and stuff like that. But I thought I would just go over a few things that you should consider if you do happen to have the unfortunate experience of having to ride a wrecked bike. One of the first things that you're going to want to do is not wreck the bike in the first place. That'd be my main advice, but if you're unfortunately not able to avoid that step, when you give the bike a good once over, make sure that you don't have any fluids obviously leaking, nice visual inspection, make sure the tires are holding air and stuff like that. Then you're going to want to start off riding real slow speeds, but I'll pick this up once I'm getting out of the neighborhood here and getting on the road. Alright, so now we are out on the road. So again, avoiding the accident in the first place, of course, is the the best thing, but if you are unfortunately in an accident and your bike still seems rideable, there's definitely a few things that you're going to want to check out first. The main thing is, well, there's a few main things. When you stand it up, you're going to want to make sure that there's no major fluid leaks or anything like that, because usually if there is, that's a game over, because there's not too many fluids. It's your oil, your coolant, and your blinker fluid. I mean, your gas. Yeah, that's it. And if any of those are leaking, it's probably not safe to ride the bike, and you probably just want to get it towed or get it in a truck and, get it on that way. If that passes, you can definitely see if the tires are still holding air, and if they're holding air, then you can go ahead and try to fire the bike up. Now, with this particular bike, I noticed right away that the handlebars are kind of bent, so that's definitely an issue. I did notice when I started riding it that at slow speeds nothing felt wrong at all. Like everything's feeling very nice and very smooth so far. So I build up my speed a little bit more and a little bit more. Now, something that you're going to want to be careful about though is braking and stuff like that. So test the brakes, but do all of this at an extremely slow speed first. Now, assuming that you've done all those things and everything still seems good, you're going to want to just try to get the bike to a good destination, either right to the repair shop or right home, and not be doing a bunch of extra riding around. You're going to want to watch your speed. You're going to want to give yourself increased following distance. You're going to want to give yourself increased time if you're pulling out in traffic. Maybe you have a fast bike and that's all well and good, but maybe you go to get on it and the bike starts to kind of stumble, something's wrong, and you've pulled out in front of somebody. Now, technically these things can happen at any time, even with a perfectly functioning bike, but the chances are increased when you have a bike that has been involved in an accident. You just never know. In this situation, and in case you're wondering, this is actually not my bike. This belongs to a good friend of mine that was unfortunately involved in an accident this past weekend. And he's not really well enough to ride. He's kind of listening to his body and going that he's got a potential stress fracture on his wrist and a potential chipped and swollen knee. And he said, you know what? I'm not really fit to ride the bike, and that's important as well. Really everything's important, right? But that's also important, to listen to your body and listen to the doctors and go get checked out, even if it's a minor collision of some kind, even if you're no other cars involved. You just never know, and it's better safe than sorry. So given that, just reach out to a friend, as he did with me, and have them ride the bike for you. Now, one of my other friends happens to be up in front of me there, just to kind of escort me, make sure that in case I have any problems after I'm already on the bike, that he's there with me to either take me somewhere or whatever I need in case there happens to be anything wrong. Fortunately though, other than the bars being bent, mechanically this thing seems fine. It's still very smooth. I can still tell that I got reasonable amount of power, but I'm not going to push the limits. I'm not going to push the limits with accelerating, with braking, or anything like that. I'm kind of treating this as if I'm in inclement weather conditions, and I say all that, and I really should keep my hand on the bar. You're probably going to yell at me about that. I'll keep my hand on the bar now, I promise. I'm going to kind of treat this as if I'm in inclement weather conditions. What do you do when it's raining? Well, you increase your following distance, you slow down, you give yourself more time, all these different things. They're all very important. Something else that I noticed about this bike right away was that the turn signals are messed up on it on almost all four sides. I believe definitely the two fronts, and I think both the rears, or maybe one of the rears is out too. So I'm trying to be good about using hand signals at the same time, but you're going to want to kind of do a basic function check too. I guess I'm kind of backing up here to the beginning, but you know, basic lights and things like that, all the function check, the horn, you know, and everything like that. You need to know these things so that if something else happens, unfortunately, while you're out on the bike, maybe trying to get it to a destination, just to get it repaired, which is exactly what we're doing right now. We're heading to the dealer to get the insurance quote to get this bike fixed. So we're not riding it anymore. That's been needed. It's been sitting for the past few days. But just be aware of all those things and just pay attention and listen to the bike. Now's not the time for music and, you know, things like that. And I actually already rode his bike the day of the accident to get it up out of the way, off the side of the road into a neighborhood and stuff. So I've actually already ridden this bike, so I kind of know all these things ahead of time already. And my friend at the time said that he was well enough to ride the bike to our nearest friend's house, and then later, you know, realized that, you know, he probably shouldn't ride anymore. I'll tell you what, it's weird not having mirrors on both sides. I don't know how people ride without mirrors, or even just one. I'm so used to checking both of my mirrors. But that's just a few tips. I'm sure that there's some other things, and if you have some helpful things, oh hey, look, a bike for sale. If you have some other helpful, you know, tips and things like that for these sorts of situations, definitely feel free to post them. You know, ultimately, you know, you should just get the bike trailered or, you know, trucked somewhere or towed somewhere. That's usually the best case scenario. That just wasn't feasible at this time, so we are riding it. I hate that I have to be in so much traffic, but this is actually the least traffic way that I have to get there to my destination. Anyway, all that said, if you have any tips or anything like that for riding on a wrecked bike, definitely feel free to post them down below. I'd love your feedback on that, and I appreciate you guys stopping by very much. And again, just go give Sonic Moto and my buddy Slophead a kind word as they're getting their bikes rebuilt and getting things recovered and stuff like that. And I hope that y'all have a great day. See ya.